Lesson 4. Hiding and showing fields. The next bit of code is very simple, but extremely useful in that you can decide when to hide or show any number of fields at the click of a button. As an example, let's build the following resource for an interactive whiteboard. Using the randomized sequence generator we built in Lesson 3, ask your pupils to calculate the last two terms of this sequence. Then after questioning them, or after they've written the answer down on a portable whiteboard or paper, you can show them the correct answers, which they can then check with theirs. Generate the sequence and click the answers. We will first add on the code to calculate the 6th and 7th term in the sequence. Let's use the code that we used in the last lesson, and copying and pasting twice. S5 is S4 plus A, and S6 is S5 plus A. And let's copy and paste that. And test it. And that's working fine. Having done this, we now include the code to hide these last two terms whenever we click on the randomizer button. This is the code for hiding a button. This is the code for displaying a button or making it visible. And the only two bits you are concerned with is the name of the field and whether it's going to be hidden or visible. There are two fields that I want to hide, so I'm going to copy this line over twice. And it's S5 I want to hide, and S6 I want to hide. Copy and paste. And the last two terms are hidden. When we make those two fields disappear, there's absolutely nothing there to show that two more terms are needed. So I'm going to use the Edit PDF button, add text. Let's add in some dotted lines to show that there are two more terms to be considered. And let's copy and paste that. Those are now aligned to the boxes. The last part of this exercise is to build a separate button so that we can show the last two terms when we want and put in the code to make that work. To speed up the process, I've created a library of fields with icons in them, which will be available for this course. And I'm going to copy and paste this. The code I need to make the fields visible are in the library. I'm going to copy and paste this directly into the button. And I need this for S5 and S6. Let's test it. And that's working fine. We could use the coding for showing and hiding fields to make the exercise more challenging by hiding more than two of the terms in different places in the sequence. Let's add in two more buttons, and in one we will hide 3 numbers, and in the other we will hide 4 numbers. Again, I'm going to use the library of fields and choose the next 2 buttons. If I want these 3 to be in the center of the page, I select them all, check that they're equidistant and aligned, and click on this symbol. Let's say, for example, in the grey button, I want to hide S2, S4, and S6. The coding is essentially the same, it's only the fields that are to be hidden which are different. In this case, S2, S4, and S6. Let's add this into the second button. And okay, we've got the 3 spaces, but now we have the dotted line showing up here, and we really want to hide that. And we need to add in dotted lines into these spaces. This is how we do it. First of all, we're going to add in some more of the dotted lines. What we see now is dotted lines everywhere, but we only want to see them when there isn't a box. So we go back to Prepare Forms, and if I select all of them and look at the properties, the issue is that the fill color is transparent. So I'm going to change that to white. If I now look at it, we now have another issue, which is that when we go back to play with the first button, certain fields are not showing up again. In order to solve this problem, we need to add in another line of code. We're now going to go back to the library and use the code for making a field visible, but we're going to change it a bit. Here, I'm going to copy it over into our original page, but I'm going to take out the dot or the point and the 6. So what we're left with is purely S. Now this is a feature that is very, very useful for the future. This line of code says that all the fields that begin with S I want you to display and make visible here. Later on, it will tell these fields to hide. What I'm going to do is just copy this line into the first line of every button. Let's check. Does it perfectly. I'm going to do exactly the same thing in the answer button. Rather than define which ones I want to display, I'm going to tell it to display all of the fields that begin with S. So it doesn't matter which button I press, it's going to display all the answers. Let's now go on to the third button and we'll do the same thing. We want to hide field S1, S3, S5 and S6 to make it even more challenging. I'm going to go back to my basic page of coding and S1, S3, S5 and S6. Let's now copy all of that. And it is now hiding 4 of the terms. And here is level 1, level 2, and level 3.